Our commencement speaker today is Eric Subin. Mr. Subin is a 2004 graduate of the O'Neill School and is now an attorney in New York City with the firm Subin Associates. A successful trial attorney, in 2014, Eric was listed not once but twice in the New York Law Journal for top verdicts. He also serves as a legal consultant and analyst for television media on national legal cases such as the Brown grand jury case in Ferguson, Missouri last year. After graduating from O'Neill, Eric studied political science and philosophy at Emory University. He received his law degree from the University of Denver College of Law. He studied tax haven banking law at Cayman Islands Law School and earned his international law certificate at St. Edmund's Hall at Oxford University. While at Oxford, he also worked with an ad hoc special court for Sierra Leone on the prosecution of Charles Taylor. Before moving to New York, Eric held a position with DeHang Law Group in Beijing. Eric's brothers, Mark and Bert, are also graduates of O'Neill, and his youngest brother, Brian, is a senior and will be a graduate in about an hour. So please join me in welcoming our commencement speaker, Mr. Eric Subin.
Good afternoon, soon-to-be graduates, families, friends. My name is Eric Subin. Some of you might know me. I'm Brian's oldest brother, and about 12 years ago today, I was in this exact same place, wearing this exact same thing, sitting exactly where you are now. A member of my family has been enrolled in this school for the past 20 consecutive years, up to and including today at this moment until Brian comes up to collect his diploma when I'm done speaking. As such, it is an absolutely tremendous honor for me to be giving this speech today. This school has been particularly good to me and my family, so to be given this privilege truly does mean the world to me, and I thank you guys for this opportunity. Now, this is in fact the first actual speech I've ever given. In my life, I've had the privilege of giving many toasts. I've held some press conferences. I've done some TV interviews. I've given a respectable number of fiery courtroom closing arguments, but rarely have I ever even been presented with an opportunity to give a speech, let alone my brother's graduation speech in front of my entire extended family, my beautiful girlfriend Shannon, a who's who of my entire hometown, and all of my previous teachers. So, since I'm playing to an audience of the absolute highest esteem, but don't really know anything about graduation speech giving, I asked Brian what I should talk about, seeing as how it is his graduation after all. He told me I should give some advice and talk about how life's a journey. Okay, fair enough. Can't fill 10 minutes doing that though, but I came around to it in the end. Now, since I'm a lawyer, I have to start with a disclaimer. Giving advice is a very dangerous thing to do. All advice is only a product of the man who gives it, and what is truth to me could be an absolute disaster for you. So, attempting to give you any specific advice would be like the blind leading the blind. But, that being said, there are some broad strokes and big picture stuff that I've picked up since I left here. So, now, at Brian's request, and at your own risk, I will give you that advice. Firstly, people are going to start asking you very soon, if they haven't started already, what do you want to be? And it might take you quite a long while to answer that question, if you can answer it with any certainty whatsoever in the near future. Every man is a sum total of all of his reactions to all of his experiences. As your experiences continue to multiply, you will continue to become a different person, and your perspectives will constantly change. When you were only slightly younger than you are now, relatively speaking, you might have wanted to be a cowboy or a princess or an astronaut, or in Brian's case, Buzz Lightyear. But I'm fairly certain now that those have changed. You shouldn't try to figure out what you want to be and then steer your life towards that. You should try and figure out who you are and then make your goals conform. In each of us, heredity and environment have mixed together to create this creature of certain abilities and desires. So you should follow a path that allows those abilities to function at their maximum efficiency. As I was introduced, I was told that I graduated from O'Neill, and then I went to Emory. I got a double major in political science and philosophy. It's a classic pre-law move. I then went to the University of Denver and got a law degree. I studied offshore tax havens in the Caymans. I got an international law certification at Oxford. Then I worked with the Special Court for Sierra Leone on war crimes prosecutions, specifically Charles Taylor's. And then I went to China and did contract work. After all that, I went to New York, and I joined my uncle at our family's law firm, where I now get to work on some of the most interesting and high-profile cases in the city. Now, all of that sounds like linear plotted points on the way towards becoming a lawyer, but none of it was actually by design. While I was at Emory, I had virtually no interest in going to law school. I didn't think that the law was for me. I had a zillion different things that I wanted to do each different day. I was going to go into finance one day. The next day, I was going to be a spy. I even applied for a job at the CIA that I'm still waiting to hear back about. After that, I was going to buy into a Five Guys burger franchise and run that, even though I can still count to this day the number of burgers I've ever actually flipped. It was my mom who knew me better than I knew myself and gently nudged me into becoming a lawyer, getting a law degree. And it wasn't even with the intention of being a lawyer. She played to my indecisiveness and convinced me how versatile a law degree was. She said that I could always go into business with a law degree, but I'd never be able to go into law with a business degree. Fair enough. It was certainly tough logic to argue with. Then, while I was in law school, I'd call up my mom sometimes, and I'd tell her I was packing it all in. I should have bought that Five Guys. And now, I'm going to move to Ecuador or something. I'll wear cargo shorts and learn to surf and make my own little house on the beach out of driftwood and seashells or something like that. Or maybe I'd move to Switzerland. I always liked Switzerland. Why not? What's stopping me? Even through law school, I had 1,000 different thoughts of different directions that I wanted to go in. My mom was the one who convinced me rightly that I'm the exact opposite of a beach bum, that I would look ridiculous in cargo shorts, and that applying for a visa to move to Switzerland on a whim did sound like quite an awful lot of work and paperwork. So I continued towards my law degree with no idea what I was going to use it for. After law school, the jobs I had were either ad hoc or temporary, until I decided it was time to move to New York. And when I moved to New York, I had offers to work at corporate law firms, one in particular that I thought I would take. I went downtown one day, shortly after moving to the city, to meet with some of the attorneys that I'd be working for. After that meeting, I went and I met my uncle for lunch. My uncle, who's here today, is an absolutely brilliant attorney who has built our family's business into a powerhouse. He told me when I went to see him that day that I should come and work with him, and that he would teach me everything that he knows about our family's business, and that he would teach me how to be an advocate and a trial attorney, and I have absolutely loved it. When I get to go into court now, it's to battle my wits and my passions and my powers of persuasion against an adversary who is trying to outsmart me and outmaneuver me at every turn. And if I can convince a room full of strangers that my client's position is the right one, then I can change that person's life forever. That's how I want to live. And I didn't know it till I was in the middle of doing it. So my advice to you is decide how you want to live and then see what you can do to make a living within that way of life. I can only be absolutely 100% certain that one of you has a mom that will keep your head on straight when you're trying to slip into delusions of grandeur, and an uncle who will give you every advantage and opportunity to unleash whatever ability you happen to have all over New York's judicial system. But by the look of this turnout today, I would imagine that most of you, if not all of you, have someone in your life who has your best interest at heart. And their gentle guidance towards the right path, coupled with solid mentorship, can truly and really lead you towards a life of fulfillment. My hope for my brother and his classmates, and even frankly for myself, is that if we were all able to travel back in time from 50 years in the future to today, all we'd want to tell ourselves is to enjoy it, because everything fell in line exactly how it was supposed to. Make sure that you spend your days getting to do something instead of having to do something. If you can realize that and you can find that, then the word work is going to mean something drastically different to you than it does to everyone else. However, before you get to the point where you are buckling down trying to carve your name into a chosen profession, you will sit on an abundance of the single most precious commodity in the world, the one single solitary thing that is worth more than anything and everything else all rolled up together. Time. You will have more time and less responsibility in the next few years than for the rest of your lives combined. So spend it and spend it all and spend it wisely. Brian wanted me to tell you that life is a journey, and he is certainly right about that, and you should all treat it as such. Travel and explore. It'll help you to recognize when the grass is no longer greener on the other side. Trust me when I say that the world is an incredibly small place. Drive back and forth across the country, then fly to other countries on other continents. Be the guest of foreign lands, eat exotic cuisine, drink fire water, and party like a rock star. The temple of wisdom lies at the end of the path of excess, so see how deep the rabbit hole really goes. Hunter S. Thompson said that life should not be a journey to the grave with the intention of arriving safely in a pretty and well-preserved body, but rather a skid-in broadside in a cloud of smoke, thoroughly used up, totally worn out, and loudly proclaiming, "Wow, what a ride!" That is what I hope for my baby brother and his fellow graduates and friends. Squeeze every last drop out of the next dozen years, and then come back here and tell the class of 2028 how you did it and what you learned from it. In closing, I want to thank you all again, the school, O'Neill, the faculty, the teachers, for giving me this incredible opportunity. It is something that I won't ever forget, and I truly appreciate it. Mr. Buddy, I love you, man, and I couldn't be more proud of you. O'Neill, class of 2016, let me be the first to say congratulations and good luck.